I've always been a creative kid. I've always leaned in that direction. It's important to be able to explore like people just in general and what they go through, and again be able to provide empathy. I think everyone should just be able to explore their passions and share about it, because you never know if you're going to enjoy it. You never know if you're going to like it. You guys are running a podcast. That is so cool. That is so cool. Are you kidding me?
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ella, and we are homeschoolers. We met through a homeschool community called Recess, where we found our love for learning and podcasting.
Come join us on our journey of self-directed learning as we dive into all the things about Recess on our
Recess Rundown podcast.
And we will hopefully see you there. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Recess Rundown podcast. From acting to studio art to film, our guest today has a creative resume that is constantly evolving. She is currently a film student, a volleyball enthusiast, and a key member of the Recess team, where she's currently leading everything from platoon squads to karaoke clubs. Let's welcome Elena. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So, as said in the intro, you went from wanting to act to studio art to filmmaking. How did you know when you really wanted to pursue something? Has it always been creative activities that interested you?
Yeah, I feel like I've always been a creative kid. I've always leaned in that direction. I've loved like drawing ever since I was little, even if I wasn't good at it, and like acting. I started in like chorus because I loved music, and then that club kind of became like, it was called Broadway Junior when I was in elementary school. So that pipeline kind of made sense for me, and I was always a very dramatic kid, and I loved like performing and stuff like that. So I feel like creativity has kind of been something that I've always been interested in. And as I got older, I realized that it could be a career that I could pursue. So I think that was also part of the reason that, it went from like acting to art and to film. And I think they connect really well, which thankfully for me, like it kind of helped me out as I was moving towards more serious stuff, and from like middle school to high school to college. So yeah, I think for me, creativity has kind of always been more than just like something that I did on the side. I think because it's something that I love and something that I'm good at in like whatever regard. I've always felt the desire to pursue it in any way that I can.
That's awesome. I really relate to that. I think of myself as a really creative person as well, and I'm curious, was it switching from one thing to another, or were you really you just went all in with acting and art and filmmaking? Was it more one at a time?
Yeah, so I think I wanted to do acting like starting when I was little, like even before. I feel like elementary school, I would do like the musicals, I would do the plays, I would want to take acting classes, and I did some stuff out of school. So for a while, that felt like what I really wanted to do and what I wanted to pursue. But then when I got to middle school, in like eighth grade, that's when COVID hit. So everything changed, and acting, like it was different. So either I was going to submit self tapes, or I would do online like acting classes with my acting teacher, and it just became harder. So that, because of how kind of my classes also switched like the format, we had like half days. So I ended up spending more time on art projects because I would be home for like a bunch of hours that I didn't have class, and I could just be drawing for hours on end. So I think that was like that first transition. Also, my acting teacher that was in my school had left, so we didn't have an acting program for a little bit. And because I was already spending so much time in like doing art and then going to the art studio even more, that was like the first switch. And then I did studio art all throughout high school. I would do even college classes on the weekends because I really enjoyed it. And then my junior year of high school, the summer after, so the summer before senior year, I took a filmmaking, like a camp basically over the summer, and I was like, wow, wait, this is actually really cool, and I really enjoyed it. And it kind of made sense because I was always the kid that would want to, like, during the summers, stay inside and watch TV all day. So I was like, wait, this is something that I could actually pursue. And then there's like this story where there was a movie being filmed across the street from my house. And my friends and I hid on our neighbor's backyard and like watched Bradley Cooper through a fence. Yeah, it was really cool. It was sick. And that was the first time I had seen a like professional camera rig, and it was crazy. It was this huge thing, and it was put on this like dolly, which is something that it's like a setup that's on wheels, so you can push it. And I had never seen that before, and I was like, wow, this is. It was also like an eye-opening thing. So to go back to your question, I don't think it's kind of like it doesn't completely switch. So I still love acting. Luckily, because I am a film major, all my other film majors need people to act in their films. So I do that all the time. And I still love to draw and I love to make art. And every time I like become obsessed with a show, I want to do more art. So I was rewatching Arcane recently, and I was like, oh, I gotta re-download Procreate and start drawing again. So it never ends; it always continues. But I think there's definitely been a shift in, I guess, priorities.
That's awesome. I love how you were explaining like the camera and the rigs. I remember I did background acting once for some random film, and I was very surprised by all the equipment around me.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
curious, what
crazy.
was the name of the movie being filmed in your neighborhood?
Maestro. It came out, I want to say, a few years ago. It was, I think, directed by Bradley Cooper and starring Bradley Cooper, and I think it was a Netflix production.
What was it
Um,
called?
Maestro, Maestro, Maestro. Yeah, because he was like a maestro for he was a famous maestro for orchestras, like the person that leads an orchestra. That's what it was. Yeah, it was cool. It was also a period piece, so I got to see everybody all dressed up and like they had different cars. They sectioned off our entire street. They used our driveway actually, and they had like really old cars that were parked in it. It was cool. It was really cool.
Did you always want to be an actor? What did you want to be when you were little?
Um, Honestly, I feel like so my dad is a doctor, so I feel like he would always, when I was little, everyone would be like, "Oh, do you want to be a doctor? Or do you want to be a doctor?" So when I was really little, I'd be like, "Yeah," but then once I got a little older, I was like, maybe not. And it's not that I think, especially seeing my dad being a doctor and how important he is, he's just very passionate about it. So for me, the amount of schooling, the amount of education that it takes to become a doctor, I feel like I would not be able to be completely motivated in that field. So I knew I was like, I don't want to go towards that. And then it was the same thing at some point. Like I did Model UN and mock trial in high school. So like for mock trial, it's where like you're lawyers, um, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I loved arguing in that like in a controlled sense in a controlled setting like that. But even like my teachers would ask me like, "Oh, do you think you're gonna go in law?" And I would be like, I like it, but the amount of school. Like, I just feel like a profession and a job that you're going to do for the rest of your life, you have to be passionate in it. I feel like that's something that's super important to me. And getting back to your earlier question, like why creativity has been so important to me is because I love it. Like, I can't really see myself in, let's say, a 9 to 5 where I have to sit at a desk. Some people can do that and they are so happy because they look forward to the end of their day, or they look forward, like they enjoy their job. So honestly, I just feel like for anyone really, like if you enjoy your job, you like it's gonna be great. But I feel like acting was probably, again, because I was a movie kid, I was a TV kid. That's what I was always doing. I always wanted to watch TV. Also Broadway, because I grew up and I'm from New York, so I love. I continue to love musicals. Let's be honest. So being able to go to shows with my parents and my family and just sitting in the audience and watch these people give it their all and singing their heart out, I would be starstruck and just in awe watching them. And just like, yeah, so I probably at some point wanted to be on Broadway when I was little, but I think there was probably a pathway of like, maybe acting would be cool, but I feel like that was definitely the first thing that I wanted to do.
That's awesome. I love the Broadway thing. I like to call myself a bit of a theater kid, so that's
Oh,
that's awesome. What's your favorite musical?
I feel like I have to say Hamilton because I like for multiple years of my life would sing it at any. I mean, it still happens. Like if I hear a word that sets me off, I start. But I will say because I go to a bigger college now, like my school, I went to the same school for K through 12, and it was really small. So I was the only Hamilton kid. But after coming in college, more of my friends are Hamilton kids, so it kind of works out. But I've seen a bunch of them. I feel like what's another highlight that I've like really enjoyed? Hamilton was probably the one that I became obsessed with the most. But another favorite that I have is like Hadestown. It's beautiful, just amazing. Um, I saw Cabaret again for the second time. I saw it in the West End this time. That was really cool. Yeah. How about you? Do you have a favorite musical?
Um, I really like Newsies. I was in it a few years ago. Um, I didn't really know what it was, and then ended up researching and looking at it before the audition, and just fell in love with it.
Yeah. Newsies is fantastic. I love it. I think the energy of that show and just the choreography is amazing.
Yeah, I the choreographer really pushed us hard for that show.
Yeah.
The pandemic clearly redirected your path, right? So looking back, do you think it actually led you somewhere better?
That's a great question. Honestly, at the time, it really sucked. Like, obviously, and everyone, like, no one could see their friends. It was really isolating. It was scary. Um, I think, yeah, at the time, I was not happy about not being able to do, like, thinking that I wouldn't be able to do acting to the same degree that I did before. But I did really enjoy art, and I've always enjoyed art, so being able to have the opportunity to do more of that, I really appreciated. And now looking back on it, like in hindsight, I do think it led me down a better path because if all that stuff didn't happen, I don't know if I would have gone into filmmaking, and I don't know if I would have, come to BU or if I would have majored in film and then met all my friends. And to be honest, like the people that are around me today are very important to me, and I value them very much. And what I've been able to learn in the position that I am now, like I never thought that I would be here, especially because I thought that I was going to go down different paths. But I think another thing, at least in my mind, I don't know how realistic this is, but filmmaking seems more realistic in a sense because there are so many jobs, right? Obviously, we are in a bit of a job crisis, which is not good, and it gets really hard to get a job. But if I'm thinking in a general sense, right, like on any set or in any project that you work on, there are so many people involved. So many people. If I think about that compared to acting, it's so hard to catch a break in acting, right? You hear these stories of even famous actors. They go on audition after audition after audition, and it's really difficult. And obviously, this comparison does not mean that in any way being successful in filmmaking is easy. Not at all. Not at all. But I hope that because there are so many positions on literally any set ever, I would have more opportunities to get more experience and then hopefully be able to like rise in the ranks a little bit in that regard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a weird way to think about it. I don't know. I just feel like, especially when I was younger and I'd tell people, like, oh, yeah, I want to do acting, it was, one of two things. Either like, oh, it's super cool, or, it's going to be really hard to get a job, as if I didn't know. But I don't think that that should deter anyone for pursuing what they love at all.
Yeah.
I just think that's an important question to think about, right? Like, okay, knowing this, am I going to keep going and am I going to be motivated and passionate and like be able to do what I want to do, or is it going to redirect you? Always something to think about.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great part of recess, they're all really accepting about whatever a kid wants to do, whether it's a passion and they do want to make it their job, or something could still be a passion, but it's not something that they want to pursue as a career. And it's not really forced upon them as a career. It's just whatever you're feeling like.
Yeah, I totally agree. And recess is honest, like it's great because it gives you guys access to so many different pathways at such a young age. So like you can learn about acting, filmmaking, playing games, creating story. Like it's just it opens, I feel like, the world so much, and it's just like a great place to be able to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're currently in college for filmmaking. What has surprised you the most about studying film that you didn't really expect going in?
What has surprised me most? Okay, to be honest, and I don't know, this could just be me and I lived in a bubble, or me and my mother lived in a bubble, but like when you watch because I've always watched award shows, when I would watch the Oscars and it would be like Best Picture or Best Director, I don't think I really understood what those terms meant. So like Best Director, I feel like everybody associates director with the film because their name comes first and it's kind of like they're the creator of it. But like Best Picture, those awards go to the producers. But what does producer mean? So I didn't really know what that meant. So after coming to BU and like taking classes here, I've definitely learned each of the different like sections and how different they are, because you have director, which is kind of the person that has kind of the vision for the film, and everybody else is kind of using their vision and like using their jobs to be able to create that. So there's like screenwriting, which of course that's like writing the script. That I've learned that I really enjoy. I really enjoy screenwriting, writing, super cool. Producing is more of the business side of it, which I didn't understand. I didn't really know that. So they're responsible for the well-being of the actors and the crew. Also stuff like making deals and making like seeing if the movie or the show is being run, and stuff like that. Then you have like DP, which is director of photography, otherwise known as cinematographer, and they are basically in charge of the image, or like if you think of this is kind of how art and film connects, but if you're looking at a movie and you see a really beautiful image, right, like that's the DP. That's what they're doing. They're working on taking what the director wants and producing that on film. And then like under the DP, you have a gaffer, which is lighting. Again, never heard of that term at all before my film classes. I had no idea. Then you have like grips, which are like, that's even more specific. That's who's setting things up. So basically, I think what surprised me most are a lot of the terms that I didn't know. That's like a superficial answer. But in a more broad sense, I think it's really interesting to see how many different types of people pursue filmmaking and what they want out of it. So I've met a bunch of people that really want to direct, and they have like strong images in their head, and they have stories that they want to tell, and they I don't know, they're kind of like driving forces that really want to create movies overall, right? Like bigger picture stuff. But then I've met people that are more on the art side, where they want to be DPs and they want to learn like technical stuff about, okay, what lighting does this, what camera, what lenses do this, and like my cinematographer professor right now says how like cameras are paintbrushes, because we're creating images and we're creating paintings when we're filming. And then there's people that like editing, and they want to be responsible for kind of taking what we've shot and putting it together. And then there's even sound people. So there are so many different aspects of it, and so many different types of people that like come together to create these really cool stories. And I think I've definitely learned about myself that for me, the most important thing that I want to do is be able to, like, the reason that I think I got into filmmaking is because it's a way that you can share experiences, like human experiences, that you wouldn't be able to have in any other regard. So if, you know, you're in like experiencing an emotion, or you've gone through a certain experience, film is a way that you can like empathize with people and like share that story and teach people things without it being like a lecture or something that's really difficult, I feel like.
That was really beautifully said.
I hope it makes sense. I went in a little bit of a
Of
circle
course.
thing, but
No, it made
Yeah.
sense. That was really great, and I learned. I didn't know a lot of those terms or roles.
yeah, yeah. You really don't learn these things unless you're like actually taught it, or like because I've always enjoyed the Oscars or the Golden Globes or any of the award shows. I think they're cool. I didn't understand the difference between soundtrack and sound. Like, and then there's best song. What do you mean? There's just a bunch of them. You're like, oh, cool. Like, I like this movie. I hope they win. But I have a newfound appreciation for all the people and all the work that goes into it because I had no idea.
You mentioned in the forum that analyzing films as well as making them. So maybe when you're watching a film, a movie, or show, has studying film changed watching these shows and movies for you at all?
Completely, for the better and for the worse, because I will say it's one thing to go see a movie with a lot of my friends here are now film majors because that's just the people that I hang around. So going to a movie with a group of film majors, it's like we huddle around outside and we're discussing. And we're like, oh, I thought the sound was bad. Like, oh, I didn't like the editing. Oh, did you notice how the continuity, all this different stuff. And then if we have one of our friends that's not in film, they're like, what are you saying? Also, if I'm watching a movie at home, like with my family, I just feel like I'm thinking too much. They'll be like, "Oh, this is a great movie," and I'm like, but like did you notice this part? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So I think sometimes it's great because I can definitely analyze films to a new degree, which I enjoy because it makes it much more interesting and I can appreciate them more. But sometimes when I just want to watch a movie to watch a movie and I have to think about it, that's a little harder. But I feel like because when I speak to some of my professors or people that are definitely more experienced, because I am still very much a beginner. I am learning so much and I'm happy about it. But I'm definitely a beginner. So when I talk to people that are a little bit more experienced, they'll be like, yeah, I can tell the exact lens they used for this shot, or like what lens and what camera. And I'm like, what do you like? Sure, maybe I can guess the lens, but that much? You know the lighting setup just from looking at it for 30 seconds? So yeah, it definitely changes what a movie is, and you become a little more analytical. But I think overall, in a general sense, is definitely for the better.
Interesting. That's cool. But yeah, I can understand the yeah, just wanting to watch a movie and then you have all these things going on in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned that you heard about Recess through a friend and well, instantly wanted in. What was it about it that just felt right for you?
Yeah. So honestly, I I think it was because it was a way to work with kids in general, and I love working with kids and just like younger generations in general because I think it's great, and I think it's really cool to one hang out with them and kind of see how they see the world, but also I've definitely had people in my life when I was younger that I really looked up to. So I think to be given an opportunity to maybe be that way for someone really felt like a great opportunity. And I've really I don't want to say give back because that doesn't seem like the right way to say it, but to have people in my life that were role models or were important to me and I looked up to, the idea that I could be like that for someone else was very appealing and I would want to be able to do that. And also again, like I said before, just the platform is so cool. And I'd never heard anything like that. And I think it's really important to give kids a way to socialize if they can't. Like if they're homeschooled or for some reason they're not, like they don't get to see people all the time, why not create an online platform where they can do that and they can learn and they can have fun and they can explore all their different interests. And I just think it's really, really unique. And I just really wanted to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Well, very glad that you ended up sticking with Recess.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool. Well, speaking of Recess, do you think you would have wanted Recess when you were a kid?
Ooh. Honestly, yeah. Because I think it would have opened my eyes to things that I didn't know about. Because again, like going to a smaller school or being around a lot of the same people, like I would be around the same people constantly. I wasn't aware of, like, as an easy example, filmmaking. I didn't know that was a job when I was little. I had no idea. But like I know you guys there's like a filmmaking class or there's coding classes. I feel like a lot of opportunities um, to pursue interests, like any interest that you guys are running a podcast. That is so cool. That is so cool. Are you kidding me? So just stuff like that. I feel like having um, a way to be able to do that and still be guided in your interests at a young age is really important and really, really cool. Also to meet people that are from different places and different ages, because I think it's hard, especially let's say in like an elementary, like a basic one. You tend to hang out with kids that are in your grade, and it for a school like mine that had 15 kids in a grade, and I was with the same 15 or 16 kids growing up, it can be a little, I don't want to say isolating, just kind of contained. So I feel like recess would have definitely opened that up.
That's cool. Yeah, I think one really cool part about homeschooling is that we're exposed to kids of so many different ages. So it's not I'm very happy to hang out and play a game with an 8-year-old. I have so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a big age gap, but a lot of the time it really doesn't feel like it. Um, and if you have something to connect over, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, totally.
So have you always seen yourself becoming an educator?
Um, I don't know. I feel like at one point, feel like at one point I may have wanted to be a teacher because I had really good teachers in my life, like really good teachers. Um, in high school, I had a math teacher well, he was my volleyball coach first, but then he was my math teacher. And I had always been pretty good in subjects in schools and stuff in school, but my like junior year in math, I was taking pre-calc. I don't know what happened. Could not. I was doing terrible, and he like had me come to his office and took time literally every day and gave me extra help. And that continued for 2 whole years. Um, and he helped me every step of the way. And I think having someone like that in my life was really, really important because it showed that even though like I wasn't necessarily bad at math, I think I just needed more time and like more help. So the fact that he would make sure that I got that was really, really important. And I feel like just teachers, and I've had really, really good teachers and role models in my life. So because I looked up to them, I think it had been a thought of being able to be a teacher or a guide of some sort. So I feel like recess is kind of perfect because I don't know if I would want to be like a regular teacher because again that takes a lot of commitment and that's kind of different. But again, being able to like hang out with kids and help them in anything that they need, I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. I mean, I know you kind of mentioned that you wanted to be that role model for kids, so recess was another way for you to become that.
So let's move on to your clubs. So you run Just Dance and Karaoke Club. What inspired you to create it, and how did you manage the difficulties of doing something that's meant for basically in person rather than online? I mean, it's very unique compared to the other events being run at Community Hour.
Yeah. So the idea came from the fact that there hadn't really been any clubs where like everyone in recess could get out of their chair. So I think I've always been a very active person. I love sports. I love playing sports. Um, I love being active in general. So I was trying to think of something that could be some active club of some sort, but something that wouldn't be difficult because I didn't want to run like a workout class because I feel like that's a little too much. I mean, I would. If people wanted me to, I would gladly. But I feel like Just Dance is way more fun and it's also easier and it's more appealing and you don't have to have any experience. So that was the original idea. Something that's active, and when I thought about Just Dance, I was like, ooh, this could be really cool. When I started it, it was not popular at all. Like I think the at least first week or two, I don't know if anyone came. So at one point I would have a conversation with Christopher and he was kind of like, okay, how are we going to not fix this, but how are we going to get more people? How do you want to do this? So I think at one point we had like one or two members, sometimes three. I don't know how it happened, but it did pick up, and we've reached like sometimes we'll have 10 people, which is really great and super fun. And we've had people come, for one session, maybe two, and we've had members that have been in it since I started it, which was like months ago at this point. So I'm glad that I am able to give kind of an active outlet to anybody that wants to. The karaoke part was originally not my idea. I think someone just asked, and I was like, okay, sure. So it became Just Dance and Karaoke Club, and we usually do both. So yeah, I'm just really glad that it's stuck and people enjoy it. And I do think it's really important, like even if you guys are homeschooled, that you still like don't have to sit down all day. And I'm glad that it's in recess at least once a week because I don't know, I just think it's really important.
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of what makes it really unique. Like it's one of the only events, maybe the only event where you are getting out of your chair and moving. I think it's really cool. And I know recess kids are always a little slow to warm up to a new event at community hour. I think we like to scope it out first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad that it worked out and it picked up and people enjoy it because I also enjoy it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen me. I'm laughing and having the time of my life. So, it's definitely not just for you guys.
That's awesome. I sadly I haven't ever. I think the only karaoke club bit, Just Dance and karaoke club sessions that I've attended, it was mainly karaoke, so I didn't get to try out the Just Dance, but I can imagine that it would be very chaotic with, let's say, 10 people all dancing and jumping around in their room.
A little bit. I will say, I didn't touch on this before, but you mentioned it being something that's usually in person and me bringing it online. The way that we do it is I basically just look up Just Dance on YouTube because I have a lot of the dances, which is good. So I don't even have to, because I have just like one of the versions I think on my Switch, but they make versions every single year. So unless I buy them every year, like it gets difficult, especially if you want songs that aren't from an older, so stuff like that. Luckily, YouTube has a lot of them, so all I do is look it up on YouTube and I screen share it. And there have been troubleshooting issues, like where it echoes or they can't hear it, or there's been sessions where we don't end up doing a lot of dancing because I can't figure out why it won't work. But in the end, thankfully, it has worked. And yeah, we have kids that will follow along the dance, or sometimes we have kids that don't want to and just want to dance to the song, and either is fine. And like my only rule, honestly, for the club is you don't have to dance and you don't have to sing. It's just good vibes. So if you're there to enjoy and have fun, please, anyone is welcome. That's like my only rule. Because sometimes you don't. It's scary to dance in front of people. I get it. Trust me, I get it. It's kind of why I'm the guinea pig and I'm always doing it. I don't mind it, but I completely understand. Some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to have my camera on." Okay, you don't have to. I'm never gonna force anyone to do it. But I think one thing that I've seen that's really good is I think originally no one had their camera on, but people have become more comfortable. So it's like one will put theirs on, two, three, and then we'll have everyone put their camera on because everyone's too busy trying to focus doing the dance than to watch everybody else. So that's something that honestly I'm really grateful for, and I'm happy that people become more comfortable.
The karaoke space and Just Dance space always seems so fun. I always see like a whole bunch of people there.
Yeah, it's a silly fun time.
Yeah. Tell us about the squads that you run. What does it feel like to be a person creating that space for these kids to just socialize and play games together? And how do you think squads are different from just hanging out at community hour?
Okay, yeah. So I'll start with the last part of your question, like why I think it's important. I think the one thing when I started doing squads, where I kind of asked that question just to learn about what the purpose was, it seemed like squads were originally formed to create a familiarity between some of the kids. So you develop a routine, kind of like a homeroom, but not really. But you see the same group of kids every week, and you're able to develop a relationship because you see them and you're sharing a common interest in either playing the same game or you're doing something together. And I think also in smaller groups, it's easier to meet people and make friends because community hour can be a lot. If you don't know where to go or you don't already know someone, it can be really difficult. Um, and of course, like all the guides are always there and we're always there to help. But I totally understand that if you haven't been there before or if you don't know what you want to do one day, it can be scary to walk into a group that already has like 10 people and they're playing a game and they're yelling and you're like, oh my goodness, so what do I do? So, squads I think is important because one, it provides a little bit of structure. So you're either playing one game or you have a plan for each week, and you get to see the same kids consistently and make friends and also meet more people and like different people that you may in community hour. For the squads that I do, I right now run two. I run CCC, which is Cozy Creative and Cards, which originally was or before that name, it was Don't Starve Together Squad, and before that was Cozy Gamers. So Cozy Gamers was originally run by the wonderful Finn, and they played I think a lot of Animal Crossing, and we at one point like Pokemon Unite. Then we did Pico Park, so it was a lot of Switch games. But then another thing with squads is they're never super permanent, which I think is actually really good and really important because you're able to switch between them if you want to try one and then you don't like it or you want to change, you can go to a different one. So, because I think a lot of people switched, we started playing Don't Starve Together and it became the Don't Starve Together squad for a while, I want to say. But then after we'd play that for a while and we've kind of exhausted it, I gave the outlet of trying new, like we would look up indie games pretty much just like browser games and explore all these cool indie games that are super underrepresented because they're not like produced by major companies, but they are so cool and there are so many different art styles that are just so amazing and you can try all these different things, and we found a bunch of free ones. So after we did that for a while, we also played we did some art stuff, which is the creative part, and then cards. We played Uno, I think, and we played some other card game. So I had a conversation with Christopher and I was like, hey, it seems like we're shifting the squad again. What do we think? And he was all for it and he was glad that, like we can recognize the shift and we want to make sure we stay updated. So if anybody else wants to join, they can. So that's when it switched to Cozy Creative and Cards. And we have had some new friends join us and it has been great. I will say sometimes we do play different games and we'll like screen share to see what each other are doing and we'll kind of talk through what we're doing while we play. So if people want to try something else, they can try it and stuff like that. A few sessions ago, we had like an art creative session where we all worked on our own little art projects and we would talk during it. And then there's always Uno. Uno pops in there sometimes for a change of pace. Yeah, so that squad's been super fun. And it's really, I think one of the best parts about it is very chill. So we do different things each week, but it's also a space where the kids can kind of decide what they want to do. And I try my best to create like pathways or give them options or help them find different games so they can do that. And then my other squad, which is Splatoon squad, is a squad that I started myself when I was I think it was during the summer, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But there was some interest in Splatoon, and Christopher had asked the guides, does anyone play? Mind you, I used to play Splatoon 1 when it came out. That was a long time ago, and I had not touched the game, and I think I had Splatoon 2, but I had barely played it. So I was like, yeah, I used to play. I can run a squad. So after again some troubleshooting because we did have like scheduling issues, and then I had to get the game. Um, I had started Splatoon Squad, and what I think was super cool about that is I was the worst one there, which I did not mind because I was getting taught, and it was great. And everyone in the squad was super nice, and it. What I thought was cool is they enjoyed helping me, and teaching me and get it like helping me get back into it. And again, we've had people join us, we've had people leave, so the people in the squad has changed quite a bit, but we're still going. We're playing Splatoon 3, and um, it's been cool also to have new faces, and then some of the older faces teach the new faces, and it really shows how when anyone is passionate about anything, they really just want to share what they're passionate about. I think that's so cool, and I think in both of the squads it's been true because you watch like someone's face light up when someone's like, "Oh, what game is that?" and they're like, "Oh, you want to try the game I'm playing?" So yeah, it's been really cool. I enjoy both of the squads. I enjoy everybody that's there, and yeah, overall, I think the vibes have been great, and I think everyone's been able to learn a lot.
That's awesome. I love the part where the like they just get so excited when someone wants to hear about what they're doing. I think that's one of my favorite parts about being an RA is getting to know the kids a little more while chatting with them or helping them find a game, and they are always so enthusiastic if I'm asking, "What are you doing?" or "What do you like playing?" and they just go off, and it's incredible just watching them because they're so happy.
I agree. I think asking anyone about something they like and they get excited is one of my favorite things. Because I'm the same way. If you ask me about something that I'm like obsessed with or I am like it's consuming me at that moment, I will talk about it forever. And I think I also like I feel appreciated when someone actually wants to listen to that. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're happy about something and you want to talk about it, it never feels good to be like shut down or like for someone to say, "Oh, like why are you talking about it for so long?" I genuinely think that is one of the worst things that people can do. Because why make someone feel bad about like being passionate about something? I think everyone should just be able to explore their passions and share about it because you never know if you're going to enjoy it. You never know if you're going to like it. So,
Exactly. So you said that you love storytelling across writing, filmmaking, art, really everything creative. Um, is there a story you're desperate to tell one day? What does a dream project look for you right now?
oh my gosh, big question. Okay. oh, a story that I'm desperate to tell. Okay. I will say one thing that I have found, this isn't super like one story, but I think that it is important in storytelling in any capacity to be able to communicate that people are never one sided. So I don't believe there's ever really a good guy or a bad guy, um, because I think people do things that sometimes may not be characteristic of themselves because they're trying to help someone else or they're trying to help their family or someone they love, anything like that. So I think something like in all of my story, or I try for in like all of my storytelling to be able to communicate that fact. And I think also again just like human condition in general, you never know what someone's going through. You never ever know. So if someone lashes out or someone says something that's not nice, the immediate reaction is, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's bad," which is true. But I think it's really important to dive into the background of that in anyone's life, in any situation. So the stories that I want to tell, I sometimes are sad, but I think it's important to be able to explore like people just in general and what they go through and again be able to provide empathy like by telling stories like that I think it creates a platform where more people can empathize with that idea and hopefully allow people to think a little bit more before, they say something or before they decide they don't want to talk to someone or, they dislike someone because it's never, ever like, it's never simple. So I guess complicated stories are the stories that I want to tell.
That's awesome. I loved hearing about that. Okay. Do you want to play a game?
Of course I want to play a game. I'm in recess, of course I want to play a game.
Okay, we are going to show you a series of small snippets from thumbnails from past Recess Rundown episodes. And we want to see how many guides you can recognize.
No.
9 or 8 thumbnails in total, and you have around 5 seconds per thumbnail to guess who it is. It's quick.
But I would say you have like 5 seconds to look at it and then you guess after.
Yeah.
Okay. How badly have people done on these?
This is our first time trying this game, so you
Oh,
are...
no. Guinea pig?
Yeah, just like Splatoon, you will be the guinea... Sorry, not Splatoon. Bleh. But yeah, you're the guinea pig.
Oh god, okay. Are there gonna be, is this like a multiple choice situation or am I just gonna have to guess?
You just have to
Kinda
guess.
Have to guess. All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry, it's really tiny.
Oh, Jaden.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Yeah, okay, you got that with 2 seconds left.
This is fast. Finn.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
Timer's up.
I don't know.
This is Bridget.
I should have known that. Love you, Bridget.
Sorry. Okay. Screen share, please. There you go.
Time's up.
I don't know.
It's Natalie.
Guys, I'm gonna set the bar for this game, and whoever goes after me is gonna surpass, they're gonna have great times. Okay, I'm ready.
5 seconds is really short. All right,
Yeah.
This is a much harder one. It's grayscale.
Oh, Joanne.
There you go.
Yes. I miss Joanne.
Yeah, he's been put in a different...
I don't know who this is.
Okay, time's up.
Yeah.
This is Kaylin.
I knew that. It's okay. Ugh.
Here we go.
Time's up. We just interviewed him. So we actually posted the episode today.
Yeah.
So
As of filming.
yeah, this is Tom.
Oh, okay.
Was that it?
Kind of
Is that
tricky because it's the spacesuit.
How many more are there?
This is the last one. One.
Okay. Ben?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. You got
that was stressful.
Yeah.
At least I got some of them.
Yeah, no, you actually did pretty well. That one is actually really hard. I'm curious to see if we try it again. What's gonna happen? Who knows? You could be the champion.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I hope people can do better.
Okay, you got 4 out of 8.
50-50, glass half full situation.
You gotta have that. It's not less than half.
Exactly. It's not less than half. Could have done much better. Could have done much worse. You gotta pick your battles. Yeah, but I love you, all the guides, and I'm sorry if you watched this and I didn't recognize your photo. I know who you are, just not in 5 seconds.
Fair enough. And it's like a screenshot this big.
Yeah.
So, all right. So our last guest, who was Alan, created a question for us to ask you. His question was, "What is your favorite book?"
Oh, great question. Okay. It's a great question that I'm going to have a hard time answering. I also love to read. I read like 50 books last year, I think.
Oh,
And
nice.
like the majority of them were during the summer. My favorite book. So, for a while, wait, let me look at my Goodreads so I don't mess up the author, because that would be really unfortunate. I feel like I've switched. For a while, I said it was this book called Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, because it was a book about love, but again, it wasn't it wasn't one dimensional, if that makes sense. So it was a little complicated. But if another really, really good book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the last name really bad. That's more of a thriller, and it's like this murder mystery-ish, but you find out what happened at the end, and it's kind of like backwards and confusing. And then, sorry, I'm giving you so many. This is the last one I'll give you. There's a book called Normal People by Sally Rooney, which was adapted into a show on Hulu with Daisy Edgar Jones and Paul Mescal, and that is a really interesting read. It's written with, I believe, no, it's not no punctuation, but there's no quotation marks, so the dialogue basically blends with the sentences, and I think I read that at least twice or 3 times, and I read it back to back. Like I'd read it once, start it all over again, because I just thought it was really interesting. Again, so that book also follows they're in a relationship-ish, but they're friends first, and it follows just who they are as people and what they mean to each other over different like parts of their lives. So I believe it starts in high school, and then it follows in college, and then after college. So again, it's just interesting to see how two people interact and how you may have a relationship with someone, not necessarily romantic, but just how important people can be to each other and how that affects their choices in their life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard about the Silent Patient before. Definitely, I'm not a thriller or a horror person, but it definitely looks interesting.
Yeah, I think it was a book talk, like a TikTok, like book talk, which is the book thing on TikTok. I think that was on Book Talk like a few years ago. I really enjoyed it though. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I will say one good thing about social media is it definitely opens your eyes to like recommendations, good and bad. Some people think that really good books are like they're not. Like bad books are good, but I always say you can always read them, and if you don't like them, you don't like them.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you were to create a question for us to ask the next guest on our show, what would it be?
Let's see. Maybe, what is one thing someone has done for you that may not have seemed like super important, but it meant something to you so much that you can still remember it?
Awesome.
A thinking question.
Yeah, definitely. Now I'm curious to see what our next guest will answer. Keep an eye out, everyone, for that so you can hear the answer. So it is the end of the episode, and thank you, Elena, for being on the Recess Rundown podcast. It was really fun talking about everything creative and recess and books at the end. It was awesome to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so cool. And I really commend you guys. You guys did a fantastic job, and you continue to do a fantastic job. And it's really amazing to watch and be a part of.
Thank you so much. If you are a part of the Recess community and would like to be on our show, please email us, Maddie and Ella, at recessrundown@gmail.com, or message us directly on the Recess platform. And possibly you can be on the podcast too.
Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification button and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.